busy schedule.
I wonder if I've got time to record that list about
transits. What's the moon
and
doing
you have to
today?
just
I gotta eat.
that day
I
around
sit down all day. God, I want to read that. God, it's been a week. Next reading is last
Where
one.
are you?
Just
Grab
realized
my
now.
water.
Hi,
Hi, it's
how's your day
Matilda.
going?
It's so nice
Just
to hear
getting
your
your
voice.
Hello. I thought you were giving me a different finger.
I was giving you the finger. I was.
Oh,
For the one. Because you were giving me the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1
Yes.
countdown. So I just stuck the one finger up just in case you forgot. Good morning. How are you?
I am fine. I'm good.
You've got your tea
I
too.
have my tea. I've moved on to tea. I've had
Cool.
enough coffee today.
Yes. Well, I have my vat of tea. I'd had 2 coffees already, and I thought, considering I barely slept last night, don't know why, don't know what was going on, probably the menopause, but I was tossing and turning all night, and I thought, no, time to restrict one's coffee intake.
Yeah, that was me. I want to be able to sleep tonight. I was up late. So
You're usually up late on a Sunday night, though, aren't you?
I am getting the podcast out. Yeah. And it was funny because I had just recorded, hey, Mars and Taurus will be square Pluto and Aquarius, and you can expect possible technical difficulties. I quit out, wait for it to process, go to edit from the transcript, and there's no transcripts.
Ew, shite.
So I had to get a hold of tech support. Luckily, it's 24 hours just in case you ever need that.
Okay.
Yeah. It got fixed. They fixed it right away.
Good.
So, yeah. But that led to a later night.
You do a lot of 24-hour shifts, though. I don't know how you do it.
Willpower.
Because I was complaining this week about me not being able to stay up or work late. And to be perfectly honest, at midnight, I did consider getting up and recording my podcast.
Sometimes it's when the world is quiet.
Yeah. I just have to, I'm trying to organize myself this week. It must be in the air because you're trying to organize yourself too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my day off I spent in meetings all surrounding organization.
Yes.
So, and the moon's in Leo. It's not even in Virgo right now. So,
wow. Okay.
yeah. But I think it's a little bit of that energy I mentioned. We know what is and isn't working for ourselves. And if you're kind of aware of that, now is the time to go, things need to change for it to work better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm all for that at the moment, but I've made myself a list of what I need to do today. Mm-hmm. This was second on the list, so we're doing this. Mm-hmm. And then I shall... Yeah, we always talk about how busy we are. I'm sure our listeners are sick of us going, we're so busy.
But we are. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's only going to get busier.
It is. It's fire hose energy. So I think that's part of why, like, stuff is coming. I know stuff is coming. So I know for me, I'm getting ready for when the stuff is coming because we're going to be needed. And so being organized is helping be of service. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm trying my best to get myself organized and doing a sort of 6 month ahead with my time, with my energy. Doesn't help that I'm going to be taking a month off, but such is life.
You need to.
I need to because that will give me more energy to be able to do things. I actually cancelled a day. I don't often cancel days of readings, and I had to cancel a day of reading Sunday. I think it was Sunday, yeah. I just went, I had come down with that virus thing. Mm-hmm. It just knocked me on my ass and had a sore throat and a headache, and I just went, I'm not really going to do anyone any good today.
Well, we can't preach self-care and self-love and then not do it.
I know, and I struggle with the concept of sitting still.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. Yesterday I had my children came to help me yesterday, which was great. But I insisted on cooking them breakfast and helping them. And we literally had to unpack 4 bookcases, because I've got a lot of books,
Right.
in order to move said bookcases. And I'm trying to unpack the bookcases so that they can move them. And they're like, no, we're supposed to be doing this for you. So, yes. But anyway, they've been very helpful. It's lovely having both of them home.
That is nice.
Or within the vicinity. I don't know about living at home. That would drive me insane.
Oh, my God, yeah. Let me tell you about it. But,
so what else this week? It's been so busy, but you did a self-care day the other day?
I did. Saturday. I really just let myself take care of myself. That was, I got my nails done. I don't even remember what the rest, I went out to lunch. I rested, slept until I woke up, which I desperately needed because I had to, I got hit by the energy so hard that there was no feet touching the ground, as we talked about last week. And then it just was like, boom, the energy was out and I went to sleep and got very rested and then just did things that I haven't been able to get to.
I love that for you.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not that I'm not good at that. I have just literally not had time. Because getting my nails done is my thing. And so, yeah.
I haven't had time.
See, and I went for months without nails last year, just because, again, didn't have time. And I need them because I have topical reactions. I get scratchy.
Yeah.
And I have very fine nails, and I look like a cat got me because I scratch in my sleep. And so I have to keep the acrylics on, or I'm just, ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. No, I get you. Look, I did my hand in the night, and I woke up with my pillow covered in blood.
Oh,
I must have just had my hand on my pillow, and
but
I do need to make the time to go and get them done. Such is life. But do you know what I did do?
What did you do?
I've booked tickets to the rugby.
Ooh, rugby.
International rugby is my thing. I love it. And it's not very often that it's in Victoria. Last year I got to see Australia versus New Zealand. This year I'm going to see Wales play, and I have not seen Wales play since I was a child going to Cardiff Arms Park.
Oh, wow.
So very excited. They are playing Australia, so I will be in with the Australian fans because that's where the tickets were. But I love listening to the Welsh sing as well.
Oh, yes. Beautiful. Yes.
So that's my thing for July. I woke up.
Rugby is not a sport I enjoy, but rugby players I can watch all day long.
Oh, yeah.
My God. There's a TikTok channel that, oh my Lord. Whew. These gentlemen are very well built. Channel. I've got to send you some videos. And they're very salacious with this. They'll be like, this is how rugby players use a foam roller. And and they're like sliding it in their inner thigh. And you're like, did I just watch this on repeat?
I need to see that. I hung out with rugby players when I was in England. Family members of mine played rugby, so we used to go to international rugby. It's always been my thing, and I like the build of a rugby player. I am not a short woman, okay? Rugby players make you feel petite. And I was at a bar with two girlfriends, and I am talking 20 years ago at least. We are in the Sydney, just below the Hilton in Sydney. There's a bar called the Marble Bar where great bands play, and we used to fly up on a Friday morning at like the 6 a.m. flight, the ridiculous flight, and stay for 2 or 3 nights, go to the same bar every night, and fly home late on the Sunday night. Once a year, sometimes twice a year. And I had a friend over from England, so we decided to take her. So literally, I remember leaning against the bar on the Saturday night and going, "Oh, I was positioned here last night because that's just bruised." But we were just, milling around, all of us single girls, and I said, "Oh, they're all short men in here. Where's the rugby players?" Right? And I went to the loo and I came back, and I kid you not, a rugby team had walked in.
Way to manifest.
I
I'm
know.
hanging out with you.
My girlfriend turned to me and said, "You asked for rugby players? I got your rugby players."
Damn.
It was
They
hilarious.
are fine.
They are definitely fine.
Holy
Definitely.
crap. Holy.
They may have cauliflower ears and several broken noses.
And no teeth, but it's,
It's the build. And they don't always work hard to create that build. Most of them are lager swilling lengths.
Oh, yeah.
To be fair. But yeah, I'm all for rugby players.
Did I mention that TikTok channel plays a lot of things in slow motion?
Oh, okay. If you want to know where Matilda is over the next couple of hours, you will know.
Ooh, I love to love you, baby.
We have just become dirty old women in our own
We
age.
are.
I mean, that one I sent you the other day about the guy that makes the food.
He knows how to handle that meat.
Oh, he does. And when he was juicing that orange, I went,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the cream.
oh, yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to come to breakfast at my place?
Right? And it's like, hello.
Yeah, there's just something about a man who knows how to use his hands, whether it's with a foam roller or food.
Yep. It's, yeah. Venus is in Gemini. It's all about the hands. The hands, the intellect.
I do like an intelligent man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's silence now.
No. Yeah. No, I just started thinking about it. I was like, oh, yeah. Give me a vocabulary. Did you ever see A Fish Called Wanda? You had to have. A Fish Called Wanda.
Yeah, but I can't remember. Remind me what it's about.
So think like part of Monty Python was in there. You had John Cleese.
Yes.
Palin. And then you had, oh my God, why is his name escaping me? He's a funny American comedian, and Jamie Lee Curtis. But she had a thing for languages, and she'd say, "Speak Russian to me," And I'm like, yeah,
I get that.
Speak well in another language, at least a little bit.
I
Kevin
totally
Kline.
get that.
Kevin Kline. Yeah.
You don't hear much of him these days. He's still around?
Mm-mm. I think he's still alive. Yeah.
Okay.
But God, that was a funny movie.
No, it definitely was. Some of John Cleese's stuff that he's done later in his life has been really, really good.
Yeah. He was a very smart man.
Yeah.
He'd be an interesting astrology chart to look at because he is a very intelligent person.
A lot of these comedians that are actors as well are incredibly smart.
Yeah, they usually have very prominent Mercuries and Uranus as well. So they tend to be very quick-witted, very well-educated, because I just have an interest in that because of the wordplay and timing, just my own love of those things. And so I was like, what makes people do that, So there tends to be prominent Mercuries involved.
No, I love a bit of wordplay.
Yes, indeed.
And
our children will never listen to us anyway. It doesn't matter. And if they are, well, now they've dug out their earballs.
I can guarantee that my children do not listen to this podcast.
No, mine don't. Yeah,
they don't listen to my other podcast. They, in fact, don't care about what I do.
Yeah, that's good.
They
My son is like, Mom, I've seen a few of your TikToks, and frankly, you're cringe. And I'm like, well, that's because I'm your mom.
Yep.
My daughter watches to give me creative direction. And if you guys thought I was egotistical, don't worry. I get humbled on the daily.
Oh, that's what daughters are for, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. My kids don't really, they will. I've received several text messages very early of a morning when the news has come out, and I get you're really scary, this has happened, or that has happened, and I get the seeking of advice.
Oh, yeah.
Whether they follow it or not, completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I met someone. Well, I'm like, I thought you thought what I did was bullshit. Now you want to know? Apologies first. When they first started that, because I don't want to do what you do, Mom.
Yeah.
Like, now, when it comes to relationships, everybody wants it.
They've never asked me. Never. With relationships. One time, my son... he was asking me towards the end of a relationship, but I wasn't going to interfere with that. That had to do its own thing. I saw what happened coming, but I was just there to pick up the pieces.
Absolutely.
When he met his new girlfriend, who is adorable, he got spooked and broke up from her and sat in my kitchen sobbing 48 hours later saying, I did the wrong thing and I don't know how to fix it. So I literally had to talk him through what he needed to do and, spend a lot of money on flowers and be humble, basically.
Yeah.
And they've been together ever since. He got himself spooked because his past partner wasn't the nicest.
Right. Well, it is scary when you're entering into a new one. I made the mistake of being... When my daughter first started dating in her late teens, and she was like, Mom, be honest. And I was like, well, he's cute and he's fun, but he's not going to last very long. Mom! And I was like, am I not supposed to be honest in the assessment? No. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, I'm saying, and he didn't. He lasted a month and a half, and then she was dating somebody else. Because I was like, this other guy is way more interesting for you,
It's my mum used to laugh at me when I was dating, like really laugh at me. I once had 4 men I was dating. Wasn't sleeping with them. I was dating them.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, I get that.
And one particular Sunday, they all turned up, one after the other.
Oh,
and I am not kidding when I say that. My mother was on the floor in the kitchen laughing, telling me I was going to hell. Because they just all decided to pop round, and Mum invited one to stay for lunch, and then another one wanted to go for a drink, and then I went up the pub with one for a drink after lunch, and then another one walked in the pub.
Oh, my God.
It was like a conveyor belt.
Good on you.
And my mum, and none of them lasted. No, actually, I think I married one of them. But I was just dating. I just had to remember rightly. I did marry one of them. I just had to remember.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
The
father of my children.
The father of my children.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah.
I just had to remember, but right. I'd sort of given the cold shoulder to the others anyway, because they weren't showing up properly. They weren't big.
Right. Right.
One of them, even when I'd given him the cold shoulder, turned up with a necklace for me, and like a good, expensive necklace. And I'm like, that's not what I want. You've treated me like crap. Don't give me jewelry. So it was a period of a month, 6 weeks or whatever, and they all sort of fell by the wayside, and my husband stayed because I liked him and because he treated me right.
There you go.
So yes, I did. But my mother thought it was hilarious.
That is funny.
Yeah. So yeah, your daughter, I am sure, has been the she's so beautiful.
She is beautiful. And she's inside and out. So,
yeah. I'm sure that she has been the what's the word? The people wanting to be around her. So she's had her pick of men.
Yes and no. A lot of people can be intimidated by her because, she is a total package. So,
yeah,
because she is pretty, but she is also very, she's always known who she was.
That's
like
great.
From the day she was born. She had a very solid identity. And as somebody who had to quest in life, like, who am I? Why am I here? Incarnation amnesiaville. Like, I'm here for a reason. It was like walking into a room and being like, what did I come in here for? I know I incarnated for a reason, And so that's all the metaphysical studies.
Yeah.
She came in rock solid. I am who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I know who I am. God forbid anybody try to tell her who she is, because she will tell them. And so it has.
She does sound a bit like me.
No, you two have a lot in common. You do, and I value that. I value that greatly. But she did have her pick in some ways, but in some ways not. And then, she's never cared. Like, you can't butter her up.
Yep. It's really, really, I get what you mean by that. I totally understand that, because people cannot butter me up or give me, I find it, I don't know.
Wait.
It's not a case of duh. Yeah, I know that. It's a case of, I see through the inauthenticity of people. That has been a really difficult thing through my whole life. When you can look at somebody and see when they're authentic and question their motives immediately, that people think it's great. I have this ability, a metaphysical ability like you. People think it's a wonderful thing and they call it a gift. It is not a fucking gift.
It's not.
It is an ability that sometimes I wish I didn't have. I'm sure I would have more friends because people use you. I have been used a lot in my life.
Yeah,
and therefore I let very, very few people in, and I never date now. I just don't date, because it's not that I look down on people. It's just that I can't imagine anyone that can meet me at where I am right now. And it would take a brave person.
Yeah, I mean, I have my bow, but I also don't need my bow.
Yep, I totally understand that.
Yeah, I'm really happy on my own, and being with him is complimentary.
Yeah. It
But
takes a long time to get to that point.
Yeah. And like, if he's not here, I'm missing nothing. If he's with me, it's extra, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I
that
lose
totally makes
nothing
sense.
Not being in relationship. I get extra. It's like, it's nice, and I know people will be like, oh my God, that's not romantic, but it is. It's very romantic. But when I'm on my own, I'm completely fine.
Yeah.
I don't sit here pining.
We romanticize having a partner so much in our lives that I don't think I truly knew what I wanted in a partner until I got older. And by that stage, I was probably very, very jaded. And everything I have created on my own.
Same.
I was born independent. I never had the support of a family. My family are not what you would call a supportive bunch of people. And I own everything I have. I am comfortable. I like my life. And the thought of somebody coming in to disrupt the peace bothers me. And I live in the backwater of nowhere. And I'm telling you now, the choices are not there.
No, I've lived rurally. I understand. And weirdly, even though, so I broke up with my boyfriend at a certain point for good reason, because I met him way back in 2016. And I broke up with him 2017 or 2018. Mad as hops. And normally if I'm done, blocked. I never talk to anybody again. I'm like, I do not stay friends with people. I'm not that person who can stay friends with an ex. It's like, if we're done, period. Move along, go live a nice life. But
yeah,
I don't do the what you doing texts. That doesn't play for me. And so, yeah. Oh, trust me, I've had a few. And then I just block. I'm like, not you is usually the response. And, so I dated, and to the point where, like, in LA, and I dated a lot. Like, and again, I didn't sleep with everybody, but I met a lot of people. And I did not date much when I was young. So I was just having fun exploring. And I was thinking about, like, do I even want a partner? Do I want a partner? Or was I just raised that that's what you do? And I was married twice. So I'm really good at being a wife. And so I gave off that vibe, and I was like, whoa, okay, I need to kind of stop that. I need to stop making it really nice for everybody. And what do I want? And it was a great exploration. And then I got to the point that my business was growing, and it was so fun. And I was doing all the things I like to do. We complain we're tired, but we like what we're doing. We like
love what we do.
The nooks and crannies. We like all the moving parts. We like it fulfills multiple parts of who we are. And so I was on my way to a date, driving across LA, and LA is huge. So imagine going from one end of London to the other.
Right.
Traffic,
okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. Completely opposite ends. And I'm about halfway through. And I'm like, God, I could be working right now. Why am I doing this drive? And I was like, ooh, that's a sign.
Yeah, that is a huge sign.
That was a big sign. But I had given this guy 4 dates, which was a record, because normally people get like 2 dates out of me. And then I'm like, not interested. And this was the 4th date. The restaurants had just opened in LA after lockdowns. This was exciting, right? We were about to go out. We're in his neighborhood, not mine. I don't know anywhere there. I haven't been there. And we're in his car, and he goes, well, where do you want to eat? And I said, well, it's your neighborhood. Surprise me. And he goes, well, you could make a damn decision once in your life. And I went, oh, this is why this felt comfortable, because this is like my second husband. And I just was like, wow, this is our 4th date. We're not married. Mm-hmm. I don't understand this. This is strange. Now, I did go to dinner, but then he watched a game. It was the only place we could find was like a sports bar that didn't have like a 2-hour wait. And he sat and watched a freaking basketball game. And I was like, oh, I lived that for 17 years. So I picked up my phone, started doing TikTok, started editing video, and was done. And and just focused on my business. Like, and then a month and a half later, my boyfriend showed back up, and it's been fine. And he's the only one who's been able to keep up. He's the only one who's fully present.
It's the fully present that gets me. Mm-hmm. I've walked out on dates. I have actually physically walked out on dates, and I have no qualms doing it.
No, I've done it, but I didn't have my car.
No, fair enough.
Once I got back to my car, I went home.
Mm-hmm. I've had people doing, if I've dated online, it's like, I have to see you because someone else is going to get in first. And I'm like,
that's so disgusting.
Yeah. It's just like, when I was in...
That's what porn is for. If we're going to objectify people, watch the rugby channel.
Yeah, basically, watch the rugby channel. It gives you what you need.
That's right. And the man who slaps the meat real good. Watch that.
Yeah.
But in real life, be present with somebody. Be more than a little bit interested.
When I was in the UK... I decided to go on to, I think it was POF or something like that, purely to meet people, because I was bored. I was over there working. I had this great apartment right next to Nottingham Castle. So literally you could see the castle out of my window. And I got this guy said he was going to take me out on the Friday night, set a time. I am not kidding that he texted me because I said I'd meet him outside the castle, not my apartment.
Right.
An hour before the date, I'm here. Can you come down? I'm like, I've just walked in the house. You'll have to wait. And I went down, and I am not kidding. This guy was in, I don't know, crumpled shirt, white runners. He just looked like he just got out of bed. When I went, he bought the first round, and I always by the second round. I think that's the right thing to do. And he turns around and he goes, can you not get a bottle of red wine rather than a glass of white? Because I'd like red wine. What?
What a plonker.
He just turned out to be a plonker. And I just went, here's your drink. I'm going home. And I literally got a run of really rude texts. I just blocked him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just
the very first date I had being single was this guy who not only lied, this was from a dating site. He lied about his age by 15 years. By the way, ladies, always listen to the universal symbols that are showing up, because using the GPS, and plugging in the restaurant's address. Okay, this is when I first moved to LA. And it took me an hour in the wrong direction for this date.
Oh, okay.
And he still wanted to meet me, and I hadn't been on a date since college, really. I mean, I didn't date my second husband. It just was a weird thing that happened. And I don't even want to explain it. It's just a whole... But it's like, how did you end up married? I don't know. I'm a Libra moon. It happened. Okay. Relationships happened, and I wondered what the hell was going on.
He was nice to me, so it happened.
No, it wasn't even that, because I thought it was dumb. There were people who interfered.
Okay.
But anyway, so this guy, universe sends me an hour in the wrong direction. I turn around. I start heading for this other place. I show up. This guy is tanked. Okay. He's been sitting at the bar. He is tanked. So it's already a no. But it's a nice restaurant. I'm like, I'm dressed up. I'm here. We'll find out. I could write a comedy movie about this date. Because we entertained everyone around us. We were sandwiched in between tables. It was a very popular restaurant in Pasadena. Not only did this man lie about his age by 15 years, he was not the age he said he was.
Okay, so he was older?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
No, he did not lie the other way around, let me tell you.
I'm just asking the question.
No, he was pushing 70. And I was 47. And I was like, no. I was married to somebody 9 years older than me already. Just no.
Don't want to do it again.
No. And so he was very loud and hard of hearing from age. And very drunk.
Great.
There were two women sitting to my right who were on a girlfriend date. Middle-aged. And there was a couple to my left. We were their entertainment for the night. You gotta be my girlfriend. Loudly. And I was like, I don't know that I want to be anybody's girlfriend, but thanks for the sentiments. And I'm looking at the menu and I'm like, going for the filet mignon. Okay. And every time he opened his mouth, I was like, oh, that one looks good. And then I was like, you know what? We're going for tiramisu.
No,
okay. And the maitre d' kept coming over and checking on me. And the guy was like, get her some wine. He goes, madam, would you like some wine? I'm like, iced tea would be lovely. And he's like, understood, madam.
They must get so good. Waiters in restaurants must get so good. I've heard of waiters in restaurants actually protecting women or warning them about somebody when they've gone to the bathroom and stuff like that. So they are the unsung heroes of dating.
No, I let it play out because it was entertaining. But I had to block him because he called me and kept insisting I had to be I'm like, you are a murderer.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm going to be found dead in your dungeon.
It was really, really weird. And my daughter had encouraged me to date and she's like, Mom, go date. You haven't dated. And I was like, I came back and I looked at her and I was like, that's why I don't. That is why I don't. She's like, Mom.
It's actually scary how many men do become obsessive.
Oh, yeah.
I've had it happen a number of times. And with the linked if you've got an Apple phone, sometimes you're quite linked and you pop up on people's Facebook or you pop up on their Instagram, and you might block them on one and they can find you on the other. And I had one person that literally messaged me continually, and I had no intention of ever meeting this person. We had met online. I was living in the city, and he was one of life's victims. He lived down the peninsula, and it was, well, I can't drive. And the big red flag for me is I have to be home at 3:00 every day because I have my children. My ex-wife insists I have the children every day after school. And I'm like, well, that, for a start, if you've got young children, I'm sorry, I'm past that. I'm in my 50s. But I also don't drive towards the city. You'll have to come down to me. And I'm like, I immediately was like, no, not interested. Thank you very much. I wish you all the luck. And the messages, the continual, hey, do you want to chat? Hey, do you want to chat? And when I blocked him, he found me somewhere else. And then he found me somewhere else. And then and even I have been living where I am living now for 4 years. So this was way before that. I even got a message from him the other day saying, hello, do you want to chat?
Weird. Ew.
Weird. So, yeah, I am a bit freaked out by some men and their insistence. So that's part of the reason I don't like dating. But I'm cool on my own.
Yeah. My boyfriend was supposed to be a fling.
Well, all
shocked
the best
the hell out of
relationships.
both of us.
It's lovely, though.
It was. It's a cute story, but it is not rated PG though. But it really.
I don't know whether you understand that this podcast is not rated PG.
Yeah, well, it was tawdry, and I could write smut books about it. But we both smile, and we'll forever, like, there'll just be moments, like, because again, our big date now is grocery shopping, right? And we'll look at each other and we'll be like, that was a really good day. You know, it is one of those phenomenal moments in time, because we're both like, this is a connection. This is not what we thought it was supposed to be. So
I've had those, but they, you know, yours obviously broke down and restarted. I just run in the opposite direction.
Oh, I tried. I really did. And again, I may be moving far away and he's not able to join me. And that's fine. He'll come visit. I'll come out here. It's okay. We're grown-ups.
Yeah, grown-ups make it work. If it's supposed to work, I'm always of the opinion that if it's supposed to work, it's supposed to work. When I got married 30-odd years ago, my ex-husband and I are still very, very good friends. We didn't grow up before we got married, and that was a big mistake. We are now really good friends. In fact, he took me grocery shopping yesterday because I can't push a cart at the moment and I can't carry my groceries. Although he was struggling as well. But I know, but I think that's because Buff he'd been running around with the Buff. Anyway, when we met and when we got married, we got married in the December, and in the March he got offered the job in Melbourne. It was his old job, and they basically said, we really need you. We'll pay flights, except and removal costs, blah, blah, blah. And he was living in Melbourne from the April, and I couldn't get out to Australia until the September. I had passport issues. Have I told you the passport issues that I had when so I actually arrived on his birthday to surprise him.
Oh,
his best man met me at the airport and took me out to our house, and I knocked on the door, and he was just like, "Oh my God." So that was a big surprise. But yeah, I had to wait. I was born in Germany. I have a British birth certificate. And when I sent off to get my passport, the British government turned around and said, and the reason I'm born in Germany, I was born on a British military base. the British government said, "Can you send us your parents' marriage certificate?" And I'd had previous passports, but just local ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that the British government, at the time of me applying, you were not allowed to take your mother's nationality. You had to take your father's nationality.
Right.
My father was an Irish citizen, but a British subject, because he was born just on that cusp of Ireland becoming a republic.
Mm-hmm.
And he, for some reason, did not have his British passport. He'd lost it. And then the British passport office claimed he never had one. And he turns around and says, "Excuse me, I served in the military for 20, 30, whatever number of years. But yeah, I got refused a British passport. Yeah. I could have gotten one if I'd have naturalized myself, although I had lived there since I was 3, for about £1,800 or something like that in 1992. And I went,
right. That was a lot of money. That was a lot.
It was a lot of money.
I mean, it's not a small amount now, but it was like inconceivably amount.
Absolutely. And the fact that I have a British birth certificate.
Right. I don't understand that. But that, again, there was America was one of the rare ones for a long time where you could get citizenship from your mother.
Yep.
In most everywhere else, it was based on dad versus.
Now I can do it. But I'm quite happy. I've got it's sitting here because I have to renew a visa. But yeah, I have an Irish passport through my dad, and it's the only passport I have. Mm-hmm. And I've never lived there. Been there a lot, obviously.
Right.
Yes. So I'm in the middle of doing my citizenship for Australia.
Oh, fun.
I've done it. I did all the tests because you have to do a test, and I passed the test. But the problem was that my mum got very, very sick, and I needed my passport, so I couldn't just apply, and I didn't know when I would be in the country to do it. Right. I was backwards and forwards. And now I went, oh, God, I really should get that done. I have lived here for 30 years.
Right.
I need to be Australian.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
And the fact I have to get a visa to leave the country is part of that.
Right. Yeah. I know. I've had to deal with those things.
It's always difficult. And then I was trying to get the kids Irish passports and, pain in the bum.
I completely understand. My daughter is still not back in the States yet. So,
yeah.
But things are in progress because she needed every country has their own way of doing identification numbers, whether it's an ID card or a driver's license on top of passports and or a social security number or things like that. So her country of birth version, it was assigned at birth. So she has that.
Yes.
But it's not like the card isn't valid, right? And so you need that to get internet.
Okay, yep.
And so she was, fingers crossed, she was really worried that number wouldn't work. And the gal at the customer service said, no, it should work. And it did. And I said, well, see, there you go. Your passport's in process now. It's just going to take a minute. This week is a holiday.
Right.
And my son's flying out. In fact, he should have just taken off.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So that's the first time he's going since, we left Bahrain for the Emirates when he was 18 months, and then right after he turned 2, a couple months after he turned 2.
Amazing.
He came to the States. Yeah. So he has no memories of living there. I mean, he said he has a very hazy. It's like emotions. It's not really visual. So,
I don't have many memories from my childhood.
A lot of people don't. I just have that weird genetics there. My daughter has early childhood memories. I do. My dad does. My brother doesn't. My son doesn't. So, yeah, I went through a lot of trauma. So it's not about trauma or not. So,
yeah, no, I don't have many memories. I have fleeting memories. But yeah, I think probably 4 years old, but that was like a tiny memory. And then snippets after that. It's just,
She can describe exactly what I was wearing, how my, like, if I had a thread hanging from a sock.
Wow.
Very, very vivid. Yeah. But she's so damn, like, 3 days old. She was staring at a piece of art on the wall, very intently taking it in, you know, where, you know, they say babies can't see. That kid was looking across the room at a red splotch on a painting.
Wow.
And just fixated. So it wasn't a surprise when she had a lot of artistic ability.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I don't remember much, to be fair.
My
you know,
mom doesn't either.
Bits and pieces.
And nor does Yusuf.
I remember a fair amount from my grandmother's house. And little bits and pieces of different places I'd lived. I went to 8 different schools.
Right.
So I probably burnt out much of my memory thinking of the horrific, because they, you know, primary school was, it's hard to move. And primary school, I hated primary school. It was better at high school, but at primary school, I had some evil teachers.
Oh,
they were just horrible. One of my biggest memories is being forced to eat semolina, which is a dessert. And I couldn't stand the texture and I wanted to throw up, and I was not allowed to go out and play until I finished eating it.
That's my and I've had it. I don't like the texture either. So, yeah.
It's foul.
Oh.
We were talking about something before we started recording, and that is women shrinking themselves to suit everyone else's comfort level.
Yeah. Yeah, out of, like, I've just noticed that there's some really talented people who, regardless of their profession, but let's say it's a reader or a therapist or whatever they do, lawyer, doctor. And because they don't want to look like the hucksters or the greedy ones or the people without ethics, they use glamour almost backwards. So glamour, what most people think of as glamour magic, makes you more attractive. But you can use glamour to cloak. Yeah. And these people who are so gifted, so smart, so talented, feel like they can't put themselves out there because they don't want people to think that they're like these other people, or they understand the weight, like people take what we say seriously and they let that weight be a burden versus a guidepost. And I think as we move through this year, you know, and we're moving towards the final ring of Pluto and Capricorn, the final ring of that gong, you know, it's so important for women to fully shine their light and without shrinking.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about, because it just really bothered me. I just know so many goddamn talented, knowledgeable, experienced people who are holding back.
Showing up authentically is really important, and stopping defending yourself or excusing the way that you do things or why you... And it took me a while to learn this.
It took me a long time.
That we are all individual and bring something individual to the world.
Absolutely.
We as a collective, and I'm talking about women in general, have been made to shrink ourselves to make men comfortable for years and years and years. Do not compare yourself to other women for a start, because everyone is different. Do not put other women down. Now, there's a difference between putting other women down and making people aware if they are...
Peer review is a very different subject than tearing someone down when people are like, oh, that person's egotistical, they're full of themselves. No, they're confident, and you were trained that being a confident woman makes you a bad woman. Yes, absolutely. There's a big difference.
There's a big difference. And I always say that my readings are, and my information is ego-free, but I don't live ego-free because Otherwise, you know, A, I'm human, and B, I grew up in a house where I was the only female.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have 3 brothers who were, you know, I had to be heard. I had to learn what my voice was. And I spent my life being told that I was the problem because I was loud or I stood up for myself, etc., etc. And it's only in the last 10 years or so that I realized that I wasn't the problem. So don't let anyone dim your light just because they feel better about themselves.
Well, I'm also going to argue that confidence isn't ego.
No.
And that self-depreciation a lot of times is. Because it's seeking to be seen as virtuous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
but you can have a laugh at yourself, though.
Yeah. Oh.
As I do often.
Often.
Because
well, I don't know about you, but I give myself an awful lot of material to laugh at.
Exactly. Laughing at yourself and not being is different to being self-depreciating. You can have a laugh.
I also
you can have humor.
I always tell my clients humility is for men. As women, we are humbled by virtue of birth.
We are humbled by virtue of birth. And there's a lot of people that may listen to us. I know that we do sometimes attract the older generation, our generation and up. But if
these old folks,
sometimes I realize that I used to hang out with my grandmother and she was my age.
Right.
And you're just like, what? What?
Oh my God. I have to tell you this really quick. So when I was 21 and my grandmother was in her 70s, okay, and I decided, because I was a woman of the world and I graduated university and I'd been to lots of countries, and I said, so grandmother, when you and grandpa were like 50, did you still have sex? And my grandmother, who was a very polished professional woman, okay, always just so could run through a wind and sandstorm and come out with perfect hair,
right?
Did not inherit those genes. She did this. She put her fingertips together, took a deep breath, smirked, looked over her glasses at me and went, yes, and it was good. I nearly died.
Wow.
Because, old like 50. So when you're grandpa,
when you're old,
like 50, older, and I'm sitting here at almost 55. I'm like, oh my God, I wish she was alive today. We'd laugh, but she'd be well over 100 at this point.
I made my father was a granddad. My mum was a grandmother at my age.
Oh yeah, but my parents were twice.
Wow. Okay. And I'm not in a hurry. I am so not in a hurry to be a grandmother.
No. I have a lot of grand dogs.
I have a grand dog that somebody got and then moved to another state, and I have.
I've done that. That's why Oda's so close to me.
Yeah.
She's lived with me for a long time, on and off. So, yep. But I'll take them.
But yes, the younger women. I know that you all think you reinvented the wheel. But in our lifetime, in my age, my grandmother was part of the suffragette movement.
My great grandma was.
We could not have a bank account until the 70s, in my lifetime, unless your father or husband approved it. We were not allowed to run marathons.
Until 81.
1981.
I could not get hired in London in 1990. It was legal for them because my name is a man's name. Laurie is the diminutive for Lawrence. And so it is not a woman's name. They thought I was trying to put one up on him. Not is my name. And I got, we're not hiring your sort today. We're not hiring. And I didn't know what your sort meant. Because I'm American? Why?
Yeah.
And so one old duffer, I asked, I said, excuse me, sir, I'm just curious. What do you mean you're not hiring my sort today? And he goes, well, you're a woman. We're not hiring women. And I said, could you explain why? And he said, well, you're just going to get married and have babies.
Mm.
And it was
1990.
Yeah, 1990. Like, for freaking real.
Mm. So remember that we have fought the good fight. And there are reasons that we get head up about people thinking that they've recreated the wheel or wanting certain things.
Like waiting for a rescue, like who's going to fix it? Honey, girlfriend. As my grandmother said, if you want equality, you don't ask for it, you go take it.
Yep.
That's what my grandma taught me. And she was ahead of her time.
And don't wait for someone else to save you in your 20s, because you are looking at a lifetime of feeling insecure about your life, your security, how you feel about yourself. Go out there and set up your security yourself and then meet somebody. And the whole thing going around TikTok at the moment is if you meet a man and you own a house and somebody moves into your house,
I've seen
get the
those.
lease. Get a lease, get a lease, get a lease, get a lease. I have seen, not myself because I'm a hard-ass bitch, but I have seen people literally lose their children's inheritance because they've let a man walk in and live in their house. They are so insecure. I lost friends over this. I had I had a group of girlfriends and they asked me for a reading. It was often I would read for them as a collective, as a group, once a year, twice a year. And they were pushing and pushing for this reading. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. So they came to my house and we were having drinks, etc. And I turned round to a friend of mine, and she had been a friend of mine for a really long time. And I felt a bit icky, and she'd asked me a year earlier about the man that she was involved with, and I said, I don't trust him financially. I'm going to be honest with you. And during that year, he had moved into her rented accommodation with her children, claiming that my ex-wife took all my inheritance, my ex-wife took all my money, I've got no money because of the ex-wife. You know what I mean? If your ex-wife took half of it, then you're still going to have half left.
Yep.
That's how I look at it. And I had said to her, look, I don't trust him. She has sat there with me, and I turned around to her and I said, somebody's lied to you, what's going on? And she burst into tears, sobbing. And she's in her early 40s and she was divorced. He had cheated on her, okay, and very openly cheated on her and admitted it, and then did the whole victim thing. Oh, I'd better move out then. I'll go and pack my bag.
Yeah,
you know, the real manipulating thing. And if it was me, I'd go, off you go, bye-bye. But no.
Change the locks.
Change the locks. And she let him, she sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And I said, for your best interest, I think it's time for you to call it a day. I didn't give her any predictions about it, but I talked her through what her guides were saying, etc., etc. And I said, you're due to move into that house that you've been building, that she got a lot of money for settlement from her divorce, was building a house outright that was going to be her children's house when, you know, whatever happened. And she said, I don't want to be on my own. Am I ever going to meet anyone? Okay. That was the first thing. And then the other thing was, but he owes me so much money. If I throw him out now, I'm never going to get any of my savings back. He'd taken like 60 grand from her.
Oh my God.
He'd never held a job. It was always bouncing from one job, one excuse. I saw it all coming. I told her it was all coming. She didn't want to listen to me. Anyway, she left her handbag here that night because she'd had a fair bit to drink, and she came back the next day and she said, it's all sorted out. We're much better now. He's going to get a job and it's going to be fine and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Married him last year.
Oh no.
Yeah. I give it 3 years. I will keep you updated.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is the people, if you don't self-reflect and look at what is the programming, the need to be partnered, that was the only way you had any kind of independence or social protection. Grandparents did not stay together all of the time because they liked each other. Grandma didn't have any options. Now, my grandmother and grandfather were a really weird couple. Like, he loved that she was professional, but his mom was a suffragette. So he liked independent, strong, intelligent women. Grandma made more money than him. He wasn't a loser or anything. He just liked to work with his hands.
Mm-hmm.
So he chauffeured her. He was a blacksmith. He took care of all the dyeing equipment for the city. And he commercial fished on the side. And he took very good care of my grandmother. But he loved that. Like, he'd brag about, she is so talented. You know, he was supportive before
men. But those men have got to be secure in themselves.
And he was. And he treated her like a princess. They were a very good couple. But on my mom's side, where there was a history of poverty in the women's side, my auntie was the first to live to 40. Because her mother died at 36, her mother died at 31, her mother died at 28, her mother died at 28, her mother died at 21 with many, many children.
Mm-hmm.
They were poor, they got thrown into marriages, they were bred till they died.
Yep.
And so my mother's generation was the first to live past 40.
Wow.
They didn't have a chance. And let me tell you, the marriages weren't real fun. These were, very abusive. They were just seen as objects and breeding stock. That's why I have great hips.
But if you don't know about yourself and know what you need and put yourself first and have that, living authentically will bring you so much towards you, not just in your professional life and allowing yourself to shine. If you're a reader, if you want to be online, having that comfort level with being front and center, then how can you expect a partner to treat you with respect?
Absolutely.
And that's
so important.
It is so important. And just because you may have kissed a couple of frogs doesn't mean to say there's not an ideal partner out there for you. And
or an equal.
Equal.
And there are, but it also doesn't mean that you need one. Like I said, I'm fine. I have a lovely boyfriend. When I was traveling, I had to remember to text. Could be the ADHD, but I didn't, I was happy as a clam. You know it. I was fine.
Well, you were busy. You had a lot of stuff going on around that time.
Yeah, but I'm always busy. Like, if I'm not busy, I'm sick.
Yeah.
But I was fine. I'll be moving. I'll be fine.
Yeah. It's just...
I'm happy when I'm around him.
Building your security, and I'm talking about internal security, is going to make you a lot less vulnerable to bad partnerships, but also being authentic. If somebody criticizes you on the internet or says, look at your top, look at your shirt, look at your eyes, or your makeup shit, you know yourself enough to turn around and say, oh, fuck off.
I had a guy, I was using a filter and it really kind of highlighted my eye defects. And the guy was like, do you Google those eyes, like googly eyes? And I was like, dude, you should see them when I take them out at night.
Yeah.
You just, and inner security builds outer security. The more secure you feel within, and in astrology, this is the second house. It's also Venus. The more you appreciate, which means to grow in value yourself, it's not the being conceited at all. It is just, I appreciate myself. I appreciate what I do for myself. I can look at this world and see, okay, I've come from nothing. Twice. Woo!
Look at you go.
Woo! Let's not do that again. But I've built these things. When I was down to nothing, I always had enough to do my nails. And it was more important. I missed not one nail appointment during my divorce year where I was literally financially taken to zero.
Yeah.
Absolute zero. And I had enough clients coming in. And in fact, one month, like the first month I lived with Kirsten, because I lived with my best friend that year. Thank God for her. My birthday month, I didn't have it for nails, and she took me to get my nails done for my birthday to just make sure they were done. That little thing was an anthem. Now I'll go months without getting my nails done because I get busy. I don't need that as that anthem. But at the lowest point where everything was being taken from me, possibly the relationship with my children because I made an unpopular decision. I chose myself. And they were grown. They weren't little, So people had opinions. All of that one little thing, that one little anthem, that it wasn't about the nails.
It was about that little bit of self-care.
Mm-hmm. And it grew me.
Yeah. It is so important. I've struggled with self-esteem much of my life because of my upbringing. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I realized that I had to be my own cheerleader. Mm-hmm. And nobody can bully you unless you let them.
Yeah.
The reality of that. Mm-hmm. I've worked in situations where women have been the downfall of my self-esteem rather than men. And that is sad. So we should really be building each other up and looking after each other.
Well, it's women who are patriarchy adjacent, and because that's where it comes from. And when Gerda Lerner was an amazing anthropologist, and she wrote books in the 80s and 90s, and was looking. She was the founder, actually, of women's history. It didn't exist until her, and The Creating of Patriarchy, I believe, is the name of the book. If you guys want to look at it, I found it in it was written in 86, and I found it in my high school library.
Okay.
It really got me looking at things because it explains kind of why. It's like women aren't designed to fight over resources. We're actually designed to be more collective.
Right.
But because of the penalty, and this is why far right people are wanting to subjugate women again, take away bodily autonomy, our reproductive rights, and those things, is because it makes us vulnerable and easy to control. And we haven't had enough time from the ability to vote till now to have made those big social changes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We're only 100 years since we could vote as women in the United States. In 1921.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
My grandmother was born right before that. Okay.
And it may seem like it is a long time, but it really is only 2 generations.
Yeah. Yeah. And so culture takes time to change and adjust. And so when I hear these people wanting to trad wife it, I'm not saying don't be a homemaker. I believe in choice. Yeah. I chose to stay home with my children. I chose to homeschool my children. There were a lot of reasons that went into that. People were shocked because I'm a feminist and I'm a highly educated professional. I chose to learn how to build a business that I had no idea how to do. Made all my mistakes while they were growing up. So once they were older, I could really run, and grow my family in a different way. And that's why you do get educated. And I do believe you have that choice. But I'll tell you what it did. It economically screwed me.
Yes.
Because of where I lived. And I was coming, I had no business training. So, and I was economically behind where I was at because of spousal financial abuse. And which is super fun. But you have to take care of your own. It's not greedy.
No, it's making sure.
Be secure.
Yeah. I find myself in my 50s with very little retirement fund because I did stay at home. And when I stayed at home, I had a business that I paid my taxes. I did all the things I was supposed to do. Yep. But did I secure my retirement? No.
I didn't either.
And that's nobody's fault.
No, but we also had the disadvantage of economies and lack of training. These are things you have to learn over time.
Yeah, you learn it over time. And both of us were stay-at-home parents during the 2008 when the shit hit the fan economically.
Yep.
So the cost of living crisis that's happening now for you younger folk that are all struggling, we have done that, and I've done it twice because the 80s and
I go to the grocery store now and I'm like, oh my God, how are they doing it? Because
I don't know
wages
how
have
they're
stagflated, and we couldn't. My ex is a state employee. We were capped on our salary. We were on a fixed income.
Yeah,
I had nothing I could cut from our budget. Nothing. I had to learn how to make more and bring more in because there wasn't anything else to cut. No. If I heard tighten your belt one more time, I'm like, we're going to get cut in half.
Yeah, I took various jobs of an evening or weekend so that we weren't paying for childcare or I wasn't, eventually I went back into the workforce and I did have my business grew from 2008. I used to work across the road at the local video shop.
There were no jobs like that for me in that area. I lived in the woods.
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah.
And the only place that had any decent employment was when I couldn't work because of nepotism laws.
Yeah.
So, because he was in charge. So there were literally, it was the hardest thing. It was the hardest time because it was so frustrating.
Yep.
And that's why I'm so adamant to help people learn how to make money. Learn how to take care of yourself. Money isn't the problem. It's kind of like telling, when you value yourself, and when you show up and you're not shrinking, it's because if you don't show up, all those icks out there who lie, cheat, steal, fraud people, then they're the only ones talking. Same way, if only the bad guys make money, well, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And when I realized that, I was like, oh, wait. I am not better because I am here. It doesn't mean I have to be greedy, though. I get to hire really cool people who do really wonderful work. That's a good feeling.
And I have been able to hire a number of people recently to help me out.
Yeah.
And then they're earning money. So that's increasing the economy and et cetera.
Yeah, it helps things out.
Yeah. And we're helping people that wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity because they can't go to work full time or they don't have the training or
they have their own, I've got one is a stay-at-home mom, another is has her own business.
Yeah.
And this is helping supplement that, which is really nice too, because I'm like a step ahead. You know what I mean? Like when you're a step ahead, I'm not 10 steps ahead. I'm a step ahead and I can help her and be like, oh, I've been 2 years ago, that's where I was. Okay, this is what you do, No,
and it's great to do that. But the whole message of this is turn up authentically, have faith in yourself.
Absolutely.
Really believing that you are deserving is one of those things. Stop letting other people shrink you because they are not the authentic ones. The more authentic you are.
Including the ones in your head.
Including the ones in your head, yes.
Well, and you've got a class teaching people all about that coming up June 22nd, Manifest with Matilda.
My goodness, she remembers. Thank you very much. Yes, Manifest with Matilda. It's all about the law of assumption and how to make it work for you. Changing your mindset. It's all in the mindset and energy. And that's the 22nd. But if you cannot attend because it's 10 a.m. my time, you can be sent the recording and the workbook, etc. And
which would be 5 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And you have your year ahead.
I do on the 22nd at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is the 23rd in Australia at 10 a.m. We're getting these times. I don't have to look at the world clock. Right?
The world clock.
The world clock. If only Miss Sarah would use it more. But anyway, I'm doing the 2025 year ahead where I go month by month on what we can expect. And I'm going to tell you right now, it starts with a bang. I'd love to tell you guys things get easier.
Yeah, I think 2025 is, we will go into that because we have our event in August, which
August 3rd.
We will start plugging very soon. Yeah. But I don't have any availability.
I'm booked until late July. I've got my year aheads are open.
Yeah, I'm booked until the end of August. I won't be doing personal readings during September, and my October dates will be released. I think it will be released the first week of July. I'm going to wait until I get the date from the surgeon before I release any more.
I would wait until you know.
But you can book a 10-person mediumship reading on my website. That's about it. That's all I've got.
Yeah. I've got recorded readings now, though.
Oh.
I'm going to try that out. We're going to see. I've got solar return readings, lunar return readings. These are purchased. It's not a one-on-one with me. I record it. I send it to you. And then Saturn return readings for people in their first or second Saturn returns wondering what's up on deck with that 28-year cycle, which is super cool. Yeah, we get more than one in a lifetime.
When's the second one?
Around the age of 56.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
She stares down the barrel.
You've got that one.
28. Yeah.
Yeah.
So mine's in like 2028.
Okay.
So
I've got a while yet then.
You do. You have a bit. So, but it's just they're life cycles. It doesn't have to be horrible. And so, in fact, for some people, it's a great year. You know.
Okay.
So.
Fair enough. All right then.
Alrighty.
We done.
We're done.
We're done.
I'm going to go watch a rugby player.